वसुदेवसुदं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। We are entering into the path of knowledge. The great truth which can straightaway transform your life just by a mere understanding. Just by a mere understanding. Understand? In Vedanta they always emphasize on three things. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana means listening. Manana means meditating, contemplating on it. Nididhyasana means expressing it in your life or experiencing it in your life. Here, these truths doesn't need these three steps. Just listening is enough. Just listening is enough, it will become experience. Shravana is enough, it will become Nididhyasana. Nothing needs to be done, but all you need to do is sit with a complete open being, with a complete openness, with a complete relaxed feeling. These words are uttered for your sake, not for the sake of the master. So, just please take few minutes to meditate on the Sri Krishna, the great enlightened master, and pray to him. Let him allow his words to penetrate our being. Let him reside in our consciousness. Let him lead us to eternal bliss. Just take few minutes, close your eyes and intensely pray to him. O Master, lead us to that experience. Give us the understanding. Let him be in our inner space, enlightening our consciousness. Krishna starts his message. Here is a question by Arjuna, to which he responds. His message is delivered as a response to this question. Aparam bhavado janma param janma vivasvataha kadamedat vijaniyam Tvamadau proktavanidhi. Arjuna says, O Krishna, the sun god is Vivasvan, is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed these signs to him? This shows still Arjuna needs to get the maturity. He is asking, the sun god is senior to you by birth. He is so senior. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed these signs to him? Arjuna and Krishna are almost equal in their age. Suddenly Krishna says, I gave these signs thousands of years ago to Surya. Very difficult to understand. And moreover, Arjuna lived with Krishna for a long time. He knows, he has seen the human side of Krishna, playing and all Krishna Leelas, all Krishna's dramas, all Krishna's moods. He has seen him more like a human being. So now, it is very difficult for Arjuna to believe the same exact trouble which all disciples undergo. Disciples who live around enlightened masters, the trouble which they undergo, the exact same trouble. Very difficult to understand the divine descending and walking in the planet Earth in a human form. The Arjuna is struggling to understand. Arjuna is not able to relate. How can divine descend? What is happening? How can Krishna declare, thousands of years ago, I gave these signs to Surya? It's very difficult. Suddenly, for example, I suddenly tell, 100 years ago, I only taught all these things to some enlightened master. How you will feel? Very difficult to grasp. Suddenly, if I make a statement, 100 years ago, I only taught all these things to the great masters who are there. Very difficult to believe. And naturally the question will rise. Here, the same thing. Arjuna is asking, how can you say this? How can I understand? But of course, he has become little polite. That is why he says, how can I understand? He doesn't say, how can you say this? In the first chapter, or in the second chapter, when Krishna is asking, Arjuna, go and fight, he is asking, how can you say this? How can you tell me to do this sin? But now here he says, he has become little polite. He understood the truth little bit. He has become little intelligent. He says, how can I understand? Please tell me. He is ready to believe, but he wants little explanation. This is okay. But there are few people who are prejudiced. They are clear. They say, no, we don't bother. We don't believe. We don't want. Then nothing can be done. Here Arjuna says, I am ready to believe, but how am I to understand? Please instruct me. Please show me the right thing. Always, when enlightened masters descend on the planet Earth, when they come down, they face this trouble. Again and again and again, they face this trouble. When Ramakrishna declared that who came as Rama, who came as Krishna, the same person has come down in this form as Ramakrishna. He was called as mad. He was called as mad. People did not receive him. People did not respect him. But there are few qualified people who received his words, who have transformed their lives. They established the truth of his statement. See, all philosophies or all movements, they start in two ways. One is the political movements, which starts with a huge crowd, huge followers. The person who leads, the more number of crowd, the more number of persons, more the quantity, more powerfully he feels, and he starts making all the statements, claims. These movements, they start with a huge number, but slowly, they disappear. Once the founder dies, the movement dies. The next, second time, the spiritual missions. When the masters declare the truth, the quantity will not be there, but the quality will be there. Only few individuals, few selected individuals listen those truth, listen those proclamations. When Ramakrishna declared, who came down as Rama, who came down as Krishna, is here in this body as Ramakrishna. Hardly few heard, hardly few are ready to trust, but those few, the quantity may not be there, but the quality was there. They have transformed their life, and it started as a very slow, small thing, but expanded and exploded into an international mission, spiritual movement. When it started, only 16 disciples were there, Ramakrishna's disciples. And today, millions of people worship him as God. Millions of people have realized the truth of the words which he uttered. These spiritual missions, it starts in a very small way, but expands and explodes. These political movements, it starts in a very big way, but contracts and dies down. The moment founder dies, foundation also dies. But spiritual missions, the moment founder dies, it starts happening. It starts expanding. For a political speech, you need quantity. The more the number of people, the speech will be more strong. But for the spiritual discourse, you need quality. The more the person is intense, the more truths will come out. For political person, inspiration is numbers. How many paper cuttings, in how many newspapers a report has come, how many paper cuttings he can collect, that matters. For a spiritual person, how many ego cuttings he can do. For a political person, paper cutting. For a spiritual person, ego cutting. How many people are intense. The quality, that matters for a spiritual discourse. The more intense the person, more higher truths come out. More higher truths comes out. I always tell people, my best discourses are given only to a close small circle. The best truth is spoken only to a close small circle, because when you speak the truth, it will be straight. It cannot be received by a normal man. It will shake the whole being. It will transform your whole life. That is why Ramakrishna, whenever he wants to speak high truths, he will close the doors and call his sannyas disciples, and he will speak only to them. He will not speak to the public. This very Gita is delivered to only one person. To one person this is delivered when it is spoken. When Krishna delivered the Gita, only one person heard. But today, millions, billions, not even millions, billions, for whole Hindus, this is the basic book. For billions of Hindus, this is the scripture. Only one person heard. Today, the whole world uses it. So, to express the truth, the quality of the person is necessary, not the quantity. Now, he starts the answer to this question. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyagam veda sarvani natvam vetta parandava. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyagam veda sarvani natvam vetta parandava. Bhagavan says, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O Partha, O Parantapa, O Arjuna. O Arjuna, many births both of you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you can't. Next statement, he says, Ajopi sannavyayatma bhutanam ishvarobisan prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. He says, although I am unborn, my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. He says, although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. I think this is the first statement. He declares his divinity. All this time, Krishna was playing only the role of Acharya, intellectually convincing the truth, intellectually giving the knowledge to Arjuna. First time, he opens up, he declares the truth about his nature. He shows the divinity of his nature. I think this is the point where Krishna starts speaking the ultimate truth as it is. Till then, I think he was a little shy to open up to Arjuna. When a disciple is not ready, you can't open up. You can't tell the truth. Now, the disciple is ready. So Krishna opens up. He says, Ajopi sannavyayatma bhutanam ishvaro visan prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Although I am unborn and transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, here he says very clearly, Bhutanam Ishwaropi. I am the Lord of all the living entities. I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Three things we need to understand. First he says, I am unborn. I never take birth. I am unborn. I am the ultimate Parabrahma. I am the ultimate energy. Krishna clearly declares. I don't think anybody else has declared so clearly. Please be very clear. When the disciple is mature, master is understood. Here, straight away Krishna declares, I am unborn, Ajobi. I am unborn, eternal consciousness, eternal bliss, and my transcendental body never deteriorates. You can always relate with me. I never die. I am unborn and I never die. One important thing you should know, which never takes birth can never die. Which takes birth, only that can die. Here, Krishna declares, I never take birth and I never die.